Rynis scrolled through their Facebook feed. Their hearts sank. More images of the conflict, more anger, more pain. Rynis, a 21-year-old non-binary student, felt helpless. They wanted to understand, but the conflict felt so far away. They saw the headlines, the protests, the social media wars. It was overwhelming. Rynis had friends from both sides. They heard their stories, their fears, their anger. They saw the world through their friends' eyes. It was confusing. How could there be so much pain on both sides? How could people they cared about see the same events so differently? They knew this conflict was complex. It had been going on for generations. But that didn't make it any easier to process. They wanted to be informed. They wanted to have an opinion. But mostly they just wanted the fighting to stop. The more Rynis read, the more they realized something important. Everyone seemed to have an agenda. Everyone seemed to be pushing a narrative. It was hard to know what to believe. They felt lost in a sea of information, unsure of which way to turn.
Rynis started to learn about something called confirmation bias. It was a big word, but the idea was simple. People tend to seek out information that confirms what they already believe. They avoid information that challenges their views. This made Rynis think about their own news consumption. Were they guilty of this too? Were they only reading articles that reinforced their existing opinions? They realized it was easy to fall into this trap, especially online. Algorithms showed them content they were likely to agree with. It was a vicious cycle. They thought about their friends on social media. They often shared articles that supported their side of the conflict. These articles were often one-sided. They presented a simplified version of the truth. Rynis realized that confirmation bias was a powerful force that can lead people to favor information that supports their pre-existing beliefs and to dismiss or react negatively to information that contradicts those beliefs. When Rynis encounters views that challenge their perspective on a complex issue like the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, it can evoke strong emotional reactions such as frustration, anger, or even defensiveness. It stopped people from seeing the whole picture. It prevented them from understanding different perspectives. It fueled the flames of division and conflict.
Rynis learned about in-group and out-group dynamics. People naturally form groups. These groups could be based on anything: nationality, religion, political beliefs. People favor their own group. They often see other groups as a threat. This made Rynis think about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Both sides saw themselves as the in-group. They saw the other side as the out-group. This made it easy to dehumanize the other side. It made it easier to justify violence. This experience taught Rynis how powerful these group dynamics could be.
Empathy. The bridge we must build. Rynis started to think about empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. It's about putting yourself in someone else's shoes. It's about seeing the world through their eyes. They learned that empathy wasn't just a nice idea. It was rooted in our brains. When we see someone in pain, our brains release chemicals like oxytocin. These chemicals make us feel connected to others. They make us want to help. Rynis realized that empathy was the key to bridging divides. It allowed us to see beyond our differences. It helped us to recognize our shared humanity. It was the foundation for peace and understanding. They thought about their friends from both sides of the conflict. They tried to imagine what it was like to be in their shoes. They tried to feel their fear, their pain, their anger. It wasn't easy. It was uncomfortable, but it was necessary.
Rynis closed their laptop. They felt overwhelmed, but they also felt a renewed sense of purpose. They couldn't solve the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, but they could educate themselves. They could challenge their own biases. They could practice empathy. They knew that understanding was the first step towards peace. It was the foundation for dialogue and reconciliation. It was the only way to break the cycle of violence and hatred. Rynis took a deep breath. They knew this was a lifelong journey. It was a journey that required constant self-reflection and a willingness to challenge their own beliefs. They couldn't avoid asking themselves, How can you feel empathy towards people and groups that think, justify, and act in ways that are so opposite to your own?
How do you find understanding when things get out of control? How can you listen when you are so sure that the truth is on your side? In our next video, we delve into Rynis' dilemmas. We explore the complexities of empathy in the face of deeply ingrained beliefs. How can you understand those who stand on the opposite side of the spectrum? How do you keep an open heart when your mind is set on what you believe to be the truth? Join us as we accompany Rynis on their journey of self-discovery and understanding.